Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 106, where I had the immense pleasure of having Vivian Acquah on the podcast. She is an inclusive, a workplace wellness advocate, consultant trainer, and speaker, to name one of her many skills. Yes, we talked about a number of different things about how lockdown can affect people in the workplace, how people are settling into their comfort zones in some respects, how things how people have been brought together over this lockdown period, as well as some of the things she's been doing to help bring people together via her ongoing series, Let's Humanize the Workplace, as well as other things and summits she's been working on. So please sit back, enjoy the podcast, and yes, have a great day. See you later. Peace. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! This is episode 106, where I have the immense pleasure of having Vivian Acquah, who is an inclusive work wellness advocate, a consultant, trainer, strategist, speaker. I could go on. The list is well long, but I think it's up to her to fill us in with more details. Vivian, how are you today?
I am well. Greetings from Amsterdam, and I'm so excited to be on this podcast. So thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here today. I have to ask. Yeah,
hmm
inclusive workplace wellness advocate. How on earth does how did you come into this?
Yes. So I ended my bachelor with business economics. So I ended up becoming a financial consultant. Went from financial consultancy to IT consultancy. And at the time that I was pregnant with my son, who is now at the moment 7, I faced pregnancy discrimination. And of course, over the course of the years, over 15 years, I experienced different isms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the occasions where you cannot label it all to one ism. There is maybe racism, discrimination, or maybe pregnancy discrimination. So there's so much yuckiness, dehumanizing happening in the workplace, and I wanted to um, do something whereas not only I can reap from the benefits, but also my son and his generation can reap from the benefits. So I started investigating what can I do to boost team culture? What can I do to provide individuals tools to become more resilient?
Yeah.
And that's where I stumbled upon workplace wellness.
Mm. So, this is the thing. Was your son born in the Netherlands? Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, because when you say you discovered sort of discrimination for being pregnant, that
Mm,
is
it's
that
still
is,
real.
yeah, that's not the image I sort of get from the Netherlands. I've compared to the UK, the sort of public persona is you get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, but my occasion isn't just an incident. There are a lot more women who are unfortunately facing the moment that they announce that they are pregnant, or the
Mm,
moment that they find out that they are pregnant and they want to find a job.
hmm.
It's hard for women to be upfront when they are pregnant. Some women do, some women don't, but also know that women are penalized for becoming a mother in
Mm,
some workplaces. I'm not saying all the workplaces, but
yeah.
there are some workplaces where they have a fixed mindset when it comes to becoming a mom. And I'm just like thinking, okay, but where did you come from? You come from a mother yourself. But apparently people forget when they get older.
Yes, I think it's a case of chosen amnesia, as they say. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
selective memory and all of that. So, yeah. So, was this some of the things which sort of spurred you on to oh, hey, wait, if I'm getting this, how can I help others around me?
It was also the case, but also the case that becoming pregnant for some women, I wouldn't say mine, but I was feeling a bit challenged to become pregnant. And the fact that I was working in a workplace and dealing with managers that were harassing me
Hmm.
with silly games, silly things. And eventually, my pregnancy was becoming challenging for myself as well. I endured high blood pressure. I was at risk for getting pregnancy diabetic. And people, employers or managers or those who are bullying other people, they don't realize that you're not only putting the child at risk, but you're putting the parent itself at risk. And then you might be causing not only harm towards the child and the parent itself, but also towards their whole environment. What would have happened if I had lost my son? What would have happened to me if something happened to me while I was pregnant?
Yeah.
So I have a voice, and my son, there is this something about becoming a parent, especially a mom. And I don't know if you notice the change when you look at Beyonce. She has changed. She has been advocating for so many things because she herself is a mother and she feels like she needs to do all her best to provide a better future for her kids. But she's not only doing that for her kids, she's also doing it for so many other people of color, to be able to work in an environment where they can be themselves and they can be noticed, they can be seen.
Yeah, like this is one of the things. Like I'm not a parent myself, but what like
Mm-hmm.
I have, I have seen, but I don't know if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
this is the thing. Like one of my best friends, child is now about a year and 2 months, 14 months old,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, it kind of makes me laugh because like yes, all of a sudden like you kind of see the awareness switch from like going, hey, this is a great place, and it's just like yes, they start looking at objects and corners and like you're seeing danger everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of the things what made me laugh is when he was telling me about his sort of day to day, and like he was like going, yeah, like when talked about changing nappies, and like
Mm-hmm.
you could see his energy level sort of drop about 20-30% as he went into autopilot mode. And soon
Mm-hmm.
he started talking about something else. It was like, oh, yeah, I'm back in the room. I was like, oh,
Yeah, he's in that phase where sleep is something that you are longing for. But I do have to say that my child saves me.
yeah.
He literally saved me because I did not realize in what kind of environment I was working, that the environment was toxic for my mental well-being,
Mm,
and that in the end it caused me to become depressed. I ended up in a postnatal depression because I was worried about my job and about where I would fit in,
mm.
not realizing it wasn't me, but it was them. I need to remove myself from that workplace.
Yeah, like this is like the sort of depression side of pregnant, like when ladies have kids,
Mm-hmm.
like it's
Mm-hmm.
like I think the world's expectations is like, oh yes, you've had a child and everything should be wonderful, and
Yeah.
you're going to be this magical unicorn mother. We're just going to do this, and it's going to be great. But no one sort of says, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging.
We need to share honest stories, and especially now that people are in this corona lockdown. I mean, I had the fortunate that my mother came from time to time to support us and to help us.
Mm,
But knowing that so many new mothers are dealing, or so many new parents are dealing with the situation, because it's otherwise putting your parent or somebody else at risk to be able to take care of for your child, or you do it yourself. And sleep deprivation, it's real. It
oh,
may cause you to become a zombie. It may cause you to become your own worst nightmare. And the best gifts that my mother gave me, and also my in-laws gave me, was the ability to sleep a little bit longer. No, really, really, sleep is everything.
you must value that more. It's
Oh,
like,
definitely. Definitely.
yeah, no, like you say with the lockdown and with how parents have been handling it, I look at this lockdown now as sort of different stages. Our neighbors have two small children, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing, like baby lockdown is like depending where that baby is, if it's
Mm-hmm.
something that is going to be long, hard, tiring. Uh, Small kid lockdown. When I say small kids, I would say from sort of that when they're running around stage, like they want your attention
Yeah.
24/7. That is just a next level of challenging. And I think you're kind of in that sort of they kind of get on with what they want to do themselves, but they kind of still there. And like
Mm-hmm.
the teenage stage where they're like, I am doing my own thing and
Yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I would say is a damn sight the easiest one out of the four. Like I would simply say, like with lockdown here, which we're in like lockdown 2.0, that was
Mm-hmm.
one thing. Um, I don't know if you're in a second stage lockdown yourself.
We are, but
Okay.
the kids are going to school. The
Yeah.
restaurants are closed, and I'm not even bothered by that because I can still order in, right? Or I can still cook myself.
Yeah.
And the cafes, the pubs are closed. The cinemas is closed. The public places, so the library, the museums are closed, but they want to reopen it depending on how the numbers are. If the numbers are dropping, they want to reopen it, by the end of the week.
Wow.
Only the public spaces, not hanging out part, because they want to still see what's happening,
Mm.
and I'm okay with it. I mean, in the beginning, we had to adjust to the new situation because I was already working from home, but now the three of us were working from home and doing stuff, and I was part-time teacher. So my son had a hard time dealing with his mom and his dad being 24/7 on his lip. And let's say that I am the bad cop, his dad is the good cop, but he had a hard time dealing with us in the beginning, and also we had a hard time dealing with this whole situation because you did not know how long it would take, what would happen, and I had to readjust and I had to pivot because my business is mostly offline in groups, and if I do online things, then it's more for international clients, and now I had to pivot everything towards online, which I was able to do. But it's important that you need to check in with yourself where you are at mentally, and if you need to do a nap,
Hmm.
take a nap. Take a nap because it's now the winter time. It we need some napping time, or we need some resting time, or maybe walking outside, because we don't see the sun that much more, and we need our vitamin D, especially people of color
Mm.
need more vitamin D intake than what you would normally have in the winter or spring or fall.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. I would say lockdown had sort of going into the winter months.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say it's a little bit more challenging. I would say, like even if you're kind of locked down and you look out and it's a sunny day, you're like, okay, at
Mm-hmm.
least the sun's shining. You can
Yeah.
step out for a little bit and then like step back in. Like winter, well, I'll put it this way: you know how winter is like where you are, and
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. It rains a lot and it's cold, and we were lucky that in the weekends at least the sun was shining, so we
mm,
took our bikes and went out. But I feel limited because I'm a people person, and not being able to be surrounded by people or being able to hug them or just have fun.
yeah,
The last time that I had fun was we were doing karaoke on Women's Day. That was the last time that I did something public and fun.
thank God, wow.
By March. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that is a healthy chunk of time right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, with regards to like say, with, like people's sort of mental wellness and stuff like this, like you said, you mentioned people should take naps and everything like this. Like, what would you say? Like, what would you say? Other things helped you out, or other strategies you've seen other people
Mhm.
put in place?
I would definitely connect more with people. So call them or Zoom or WhatsApp them, whatever, whatever means that you have to connect with people, because we are hungry for connectivity, and that is something that you need to see, that you need to pay attention to that, because if you don't, you end up with the loneliness, and the loneliness feels like standing on quicksand
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing that you're standing in quicksand, and before you know it, your head is only above the quicksand. That's the stage that we're in right now. So checking on yourself, checking in on other people, um, play games online if you can, or just say hello, right? So that people know that you are there and that you're having a conversation, just like you're having a water cooler conversation. The only thing is that it's now virtual instead of being face to face. I meditate from time to time.
Ah,
Exercise helps. But I don't go to the gym at the moment because I have anxiety at the moment. I don't like being amongst crowds, festival, even the feeling of watching a festival on TV makes me like, Corona. When did they take? When did they film this? What did they do?
no.
Why are they wearing masks? So it's not overly sensitive, but I am sensitive towards if there are too many people standing close to each other. I won't go there. I just won't.
Yeah, I think that, well, until like a vaccine comes into play,
Mm-hmm.
like they're talking about now, like yes,
Mm-hmm.
like there's
Will you take it?
like let's just say I'm not going to be the first one in the queue.
Mm.
I don't see myself like I'm not even in the sort of category or group which would be under sort of main risk. No,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong. I have nothing against vaccines or anything like that, but when it's a sort of high pressured, like short term, hasn't been tested for like their sort of standard 3 to 5 years when vaccines normally get tested for, uh I'll just patiently wait. If like you know what I mean, if there isn't like any sort of real sort of side effects or anything like that, then yes, I'll step up in the queue. I won't lie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be a hypocrite about it, but that's just the way I look at it. Because look,
Yeah, and likewise, I was hoping that they will find a solution in something that already existed so that
mm,
you at least know the side effects of things, but I'm not a guinea pig. So at home we are having interesting conversations about vaccine, and I just say I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it until indeed I see some more proof about how it works.
yeah, like it's just the nature of how it's come to be. If you get what I mean. If it wasn't, if there wasn't so much like just time pressure and there's
Mm-hmm.
like sort of take like I don't know if you've heard of Flamidified, where you got people with like missing sort of hands and stuff like this. Flamidified babies. I might be pronouncing that wrong. It was like it was a drug which was taken in the UK for pregnant mothers.
Mm-hmm.
The case of this was like in the 50s and I think maybe the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And because it wasn't sort of fully tested and stuff like this, one of the like side effects was birth defects.
Mm.
And it was like, okay, so you kind of see if you don't sort of take the full precautions, things can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. It's just like if they've taken like they because they're trying to rush this so much, they might be taking shortcuts. So I'll just simply say, I'll wait. I'll see
Mm-hmm.
what goes on. And yeah. And if it is a-okay, yeah, I'll join that queue of people to get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Right now, the world is, how can I say, a crazy place right now because
Yeah.
it just is. And some
Yeah.
like sort of one of the measures I think which has been proven to be so effective against the flu, just simply wearing a mask has been insane. Like there's been
And also just distancing ourselves, right? I mean, here in the Netherlands, we have crazy people. I mean, if the young people are partying, that's something else. But we even have adults, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, planning illegal parties. And I'm just like, it's because of you that this whole lockdown will take, like, instead of 1 year, it will take 2 years because you just want to celebrate your party. Well, good luck towards you. That's what I think. But yeah.
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. Normally with these sort of type of pandemic things, like it takes about like about 18 months, so a year and
Mm-hmm.
a half for it to
Yeah.
sort of go through and clear out. But you know what I mean? Uh 21st century, like because it's so long ago when it last sort of kicked in, everyone
Mm-hmm.
everyone who was like could have given us advice or given us strategies about it have gone. Now it's a new rule book, and
Mm-hmm.
let's just say like I can't blame with regards to say the UK government and how they handled it in the beginning. They were just playing from a rule book which no one knew the rules, and they were just
True. True.
going along with it. Over time,
True.
they get more information, so they have a
Yeah.
better idea of how this is. And
They
now,
shouldn't they shouldn't have given the green light for people to spend vacation abroad. That's my opinion. And the same goes for the Netherlands, because even if people were infected, they would still stay here.
mm,
And now the government has given a yellow light to Curacao. What do you think that people are going to do? They booked their flight to go to Curacao, and now the numbers in Curacao are spiking at the moment.
yeah, like there's a number of things I think which should have been not sort of greenlit, like and sort of like put on hold with regards to sort of like yeah. Um, I think it's a little bit bonkers right now that okay they're doing international football competitions right now because
It's
like
all about the money.
well it is, but like
It's
this
all about the money.
it is, but like I still think it's like quite crazy for them to do it. Look,
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong Liverpool fan, and like, look, I like watching my team play, and like this is the thing. Like right now, for me, I'm like going, okay, rather than sort of like putting all of these players, like you're playing football in the UK, great, no problem. But don't do international competitions where you've got to basically everyone goes to the far flung regions of the earth
Mm-hmm.
and everyone from their other teams coming from the far flung regions of the earth, all meeting up together, having like playing football. I don't care how much sort of testing you do. It's like a case of there's so many other points of contact, what goes along with traveling. And like while you're on an aircraft, it's most probably the safest place is while you're in the aircraft because they filter the air so much. But when getting to the airport, coming out of the airport, getting to a taxi, car, this, that it's it's bananas.
It's the same for Formula One race play, but my partner watches it, and I'm just looking at him saying that this is so hypocritical for them to still be playing. But again, if you look at the decisions that have been made, it's economic reason most of the time that they do certain things.
I agree. I agree. And like this is the thing. This is the reason why I think some measures had where we came out, I'd say maybe a little bit too early.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, everyone was feeling the pinch, pain. And I
Yeah.
think with regards to here, with like incidents of sort of mental health, suicide, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, were on the increase. Where it will,
Wow.
no, but I don't think we're the only ones. I think it's
No.
a case of if you took a look at any country in like in the developed world, anywhere in the world, basically.
Well, you're saying something in the developed world, but don't forget, I don't know how you see Africa. I find it interesting that they are not mentioning how Africa is doing. There are so many other countries that aren't spiking and they are taking measures and they have learned so much from the past, but yet we don't listen. We want to create everything on our own.
Yeah, like this is a thing. No, you raise a fair point. With
Hmm.
regards to sort of like protections in place and stuff like this.
Hmm.
Um, you haven't really sort of heard a lot from Africa at all. Well, hardly anything at all. I heard a little bit from India, and which were like the reason why I'm curious about India. India got
Hmm.
1.5 or is it
Yeah.
1.4 billion people, and let's just say like the realms of like a lot of those people are on the poverty line. What
Hmm.
type of strategies would they put in place for that population to sort of keep it going? Because like China, okay, you heard stuff about it in the beginning, but I don't know. I haven't heard any sort of news.
Yeah, but you also have to realize that China is almost similar to Russia, and
Yeah.
they they filter what comes out. They filter somewhat. I'm not saying that everything is filtered, but there is a lot filtered, and in a way also there was a lot filtered before
What?
the virus came to Europe, because it was last year around this time, maybe a little bit later, when I heard about the virus, and I was just like, okay, it's far away.
So are you trying to say that the Chinese and Russian authorities won't don't actually tell the truth?
Don't make me become a target. I'm not. Don't make me become a target. I'm not applying to become a target. I don't want no trolls.
No. I didn't say that at all. All hail Chinese overlord and Russian overlord.
There are some countries where they filter news, and there are some countries where they don't filter news. I'm not saying that here in the Netherlands everything is honest, because the media reports what they want to report, and sometimes they leave things out, or they don't report towards something. So that's also a way of I won't say manipulate, but showcasing what's there and not showcasing what else is out there as well. And the media has a huge hand in that as well.
Mm, mm. Yes, no, I hear that. And like this is the thing with regards to the sort of that sort of media information which has come out of this year. Let's just say, oh God, like I've had to sort of really like for my sort of own mental well-being, I've had to
Mm-hmm.
really sort of restrict myself watching the news. I watch
Yeah,
it for an hour a day
likewise. Yeah,
because I found myself I drifted in to like watching the BBC News. Like this was when I really sort of went put a finger on it. No, it must have been June time, like height of
wow.
like virus, and I sat down, and 2 hours later I was like still watching, and it was just like, oh my God, and it was like
Yeah.
need to get away because it was like, okay, virus numbers this, jobs are like this. It was like
It
everything's
was
like
too much. It was too much. And on top of that, also during that time, George Floyd happened, right? So it was a double, for me, it was like a double load of being in this COVID, and then
mm,
dealing with this whole Black Lives Matter, not really, not, and seeing that internationally or globally, a lot of people of color are facing so many challenges. And I think that we shouldn't only look at this COVID lockdown from the negative side, but we should also see what's happened positively, right? So many people are uniting, so many people are speaking up,
mm,
and companies are, walking baby steps towards raising the DEI bar.
yeah.
And that's something that this lockdown has shown, that there are so many voices out there that can be amplified. And that's the positive thing that I will cherish during
Mm.
this lockdown.
No, I hear you, and that you know what, there has been some very powerful images of people coming together, and
Mm-hmm.
with regards to different communities around the world, speaking
Yeah.
for like a just cause, like in one voice. Like I like one of the things I am kind of fearful for is with regards to the sort of Black Lives Matter movement, that it doesn't come down to having one sort of day and then
Yeah.
basically getting corporate hijacked. And look, when I say corporate hijacked, the example I would definitely use gay pride, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, like
Yeah.
there's rainbow vodka, rainbow this, rainbow that, and it's just like turned into this big commercial franchise
Yeah.
just to like go, okay, how can we boost ourselves and look like we actually care, but it's just about the bottom line.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? That's one of the things I'm kind of like, hey, okay, great, and
I understand what you're saying, but to everything that we share, there's also another side, because if a company doesn't contribute towards pride, or they don't make that commitment and put financial a financial maybe award or for the companies that are raising more awareness regarding LGBTQ community, because
Yeah.
without money they wouldn't be able to address the awareness. And I would say, what if a company supports, financially supports
Mm,
companies or hire coaches that want to raise the bar when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion? I'm not against that. I'm against the companies that are using this particular day or a special day to say that they are diverse.
mm.
One day, and the rest of the 364 days, they aren't doing anything with DEI.
Yeah, that's my point. It's a case of you hear that one day, like
Yeah.
it's a build up, kind of like micro Christmas type thing to sort of like where you get that little bit of extra cash and then it's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to actual like yes, being in the company or basically doing the quote unquote right thing where like they might have to take a risk or so, you don't really sort of hear anything. And like, you know what I mean? With that,
Hmm.
I would simply say that's what I'm fearful for with regards to that, because it's a case of, yes, there's lots of people which are on board with that. And like someone's going to be like, I can see a marketing opportunity with this one way or the other.
Yes, of course, of course. There will be a marketing opportunity. And to be honest, I would do the same as well. But
Mm,
I am, what else I'm doing, also holding up a mirror saying that, okay, you're making this statement.
yeah.
How are you going to keep yourself transparent? How are you going to keep yourself accountable?
Mm,
What are you doing from the inside instead of, showcasing towards stakeholders? And a positive thing that I can mention is there are more people from the outside who have, let's say, a financial impact on the company,
mm-hmm,
who are asking about, what are you doing?
mm-hmm.
Show me the numbers. What steps are you taking? How far are you? So that's also one of the reasons why Financial Times in the States is being transparent, as is, this is where we are. We are making a commitment towards creating equitable workplaces, and that's why we are showing these numbers. And from there on, we are hoping towards to build a better workplace for the future. That's in my case the best thing that you can do. And as long as you are transparent and as long as you're working on your commitment,
Mm-hmm.
what else can we ask? We also need to be sometimes a little bit more patient, because when a company makes a commitment saying that they realize that they need to do the work for diversity, equity, and inclusion, we want it yesterday, instead of giving them the chance to fall, learn,
Mm-hmm.
and fall and learn again, and then fall and then learn again. That's how we start walking, right?
Yeah, no, like this is the thing. You raise a good point there, because like the whole point, like you like giving companies time to change, giving them
Mm-hmm.
time to learn, because like the whole thing, like people just think, I think the vast majority of people just think you've got a company, you can just change things overnight. When
Mm-hmm.
you don't, I see most companies as like, especially if they're really big, as a big battleship, and
Yeah,
trying to turn that around takes some time. Uh, and like, yeah, it depends where it is. It can get scraped up, bashed up, or it's going to take out a few people along the way doing that sort
true.
of big emergency turn. It's not easy.
It's not easy, especially when you are about to nudge people.
Mm,
You can make them, you can nudge them towards embracing the diversity concept, but there are also a lot of people out there that are just saying, I don't want to, I just like things the way they are. And that's what companies need to work on, is to activate people, their growth mindset, to
mm,
be able to at least know about their unconscious bias and what they do. Of course, we hope that they take into account their unconscious bias and use it in a positive way, whereas it won't limit others.
mhm.
But then again, if that person were choosing actively to not do the work, then it's also the time for the company to make a statement saying we can simply not work with you anymore because you're limiting others in becoming the best selves. You're limiting other groups in becoming their best selves. And what I am positive about is our demographics are changing, the clientele are changing. There are also a lot of people from different backgrounds mixing up with each other, and they are seeing what you're doing. This COVID lockdown is the best period because afterwards people can ask, what did you do? What are the actions you took regarding diversity, regarding this lockdown? How did you support your people? What did you do? And those are fundamental questions to whether you're going to support the company or you're going to buy from the competitor who did do the work or at least did more than what your current company was doing.
Yeah, like with regards to like, yeah, after this sort of lockdown, furlough, chaos, and everything
Mm-hmm.
time passes, that's a number of companies over here and like a number of organizations. Like there was a furlough scheme over here in the UK where
Mm-hmm.
put staff members onto furlough and basically like pay their wages. And I think there's going to be a number of companies which, let's just say, they didn't do the correct thing. They reported
Oh, they
record,
fired somebody and
yeah,
then scrutinized them. Is that what you're referring to?
they basically just didn't do the right thing, whether it be like mass layoffs when they like got like just a couple of months ago, they were like before this all happened, we've had record profits and this and that, and it's like right, and it's like you're gone, or
Yeah.
they've like
Yeah.
taken like furlough money when it's like they've also talked about profits like this. Don't get me wrong, not every company
Yeah.
could do it, and that
Yeah.
I worked in an industry where it was events and stuff like this, so you can imagine where my job's gone. But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a case of yeah, there are people which are going to be looking at going, okay, yeah, I saw what you did. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I saw what actions you did and what you saw your behaviors are. Like this might be like, this is one example, which is just pure. It's, you might say it's silly, but like there is Arsenal football team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a dinosaur mascot. I think it's called like, I can't remember the name of it. It's like either Gunny the dinosaur or whatnot. The guy who is in that dinosaur, they put him on furlough and then they sacked him. And it was like, okay, right. You have got like this guy most probably gets anything from maybe mid 20s to maybe 30 grand a year. I don't think it's a large wage. Like
Yeah.
I don't know his wage, but I don't think it's a large wage. When you've got players you pay on a weekly basis, like 3, 4, 5 times his wage, and yet this guy who does the dinosaur thing goes into the local community, like he's like a point of like he's one of the main points of contact for that community, and it's just like, hey, buddy, yeah,
That's why it's important to be delicate because you don't know what people might be ending up doing if they are sharing their stuff on social media, or they might be coming back when your company is doing a little bit better. What I mean, your people, the people that you let go, even though you have to let go of them because of the business result, there is still a delicate way to do that. Give them courses, give them something, give them a budget so that they can upskill themselves and treat them with dignity, because kicking out somebody like that just because you have to downsize,
yeah,
there are so many ways. And that's why for me it's important with the show that I'm doing with Let's Humanize the Workplace, that we have open conversation about what we need to do to
yeah,
still remain the human factor even while you are firing people. That's the most important thing, because people will, like Maya Angelou said, right, people will forget what you said, people will forget how you what you have done, but how you made them feel,
mm,
whew,
yeah,
that one is the reason why people are complaining online. And we live in an age where not only can people access the news, but they can become the news. They can create their own news.
Mm, yeah, no, you're right. And like this is the thing. I think the key word is dignity.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, because like when you mentioned, yes, to give courses and stuff like this, because there are some companies and businesses which can't do it because they are small and, like, you know what I mean, or medium
Yeah,
sized.
but small, even small. LinkedIn was, you can let them know that there are some free courses on LinkedIn.
Mm,
There are some platforms where they can easily upskill their talent, right? So that they can do. I mean, come on, £100. You cannot invest £100 in somebody to invest in a course so that they can, upskill their talent. I don't believe that because it's expensive to fire a person.
mm. Like, yeah, you know what? There'll be some business people who go, yeah, no, not at this time. Can't invest £100. And, like, you know what I mean? It's what they'll say.
Yeah.
Uh, with regards to, yeah, people's dignity, I think first and foremost, if you can't give them any other support, yeah, please leave them with their dignity, because if you don't, you know what I mean? Everyone
Yeah.
has the power to access a platform. Everyone has the power to speak out, and just takes a few people to listen.
Yeah, and also it's a blow, right? Because some people identify with their jobs, and once they lose their jobs in a dehumanizing way, they are mourning. They are taking a lot of time to mourn their loss because it's a loss. It's a loss of their identity, and they need to have the time to recover from it,
Mm.
and not being able to bring that sadness or those emotions towards a new workplace, because that can also hurt their future job position.
Yeah, I've got to ask, with regards to like sort of your sort of work identity, you
Hmm.
do a lot of things. Like, you're kind of like, um,
I'm multi-passionate.
yeah, that is one way to put it, because
Yeah.
it's like if I went, yes, you're just a consultant. No, you're a strategist. If yeah, you're just a strategist. No, you're a speaker. Like, you go, like the list goes on and on and on, and like basically amplifying your voice as strategies. Like, yeah, it just keeps on. And like, yes, like, and you top it off with, yeah, proud tech nerd as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's the robot behind me. So we forget that we are multiple things, right? So I am Ghanaian,
Yeah.
born in Netherlands. I'm 40 years old, but I'm also mom. I'm also a proud partner. I'm also an amazing friend. At least my friends tell me that. I'm also a nerd. Know my way around tech. I mean, I have this amazing camera that beautifies me. I have this. I invest in my podcast mic. I invest in the tech nerdy stuff that I like, instead of investing in Gucci and all these dull names that don't even build me up. I'm yeah, I can be girly, but I'm not girly like that. I don't care about the million bags. I care about how I'm being seen and how my voice is being heard, and people like me because I am being real.
Mm.
um i s- I've dealt with so many BS that I've come to an age that I don't even bother anymore. I have to keep it real for my son, because I'm a role model, and my son is really looking at me with his big eyes and looking at everything that I'm doing. He's sometimes annoying when he's holding up a mirror, but he at least knows the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. How
Mm.
many adults do you know in the workplace that knows that and that apply that lesson?
Well, like there's the thing, like the sooner the lesson can be learned, the better. And
Yeah.
yes, trust me. Like when I was working over in the States as a camp counselor, when like, yes, the one time when you kind of like can't look at a child and it's like, okay, if they're talking, that's great, but when they stop
Hmm.
talking, they're just like, okay, what are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
trying to work you out like some complicated jigsaw puzzle, and then like, yeah, uh, I was like, you remember when you say this, and you remember when
Yeah.
you did this?
Yeah.
Okay, right, thank you.
Yeah. But I learn a lot from my child, because it was because of him that I left that toxic workplace. But it's also because of him that this summer, when the event with George Floyd happened, it was
Mm,
sensationalized here in the Netherlands. They kept showing it over and over. And one time or a few times, I was too late to grab the remote and to switch it over to some other channel. And I had to explain to a 6-year-old what happened, which
yeah.
I did not want to do. I knew eventually I had to do, the additional black parenting talk
Uh,
towards him, especially as a boy. But I had to do it now, and I had to share something about that George Floyd was, merely died because of the race of the color of his skin.
mm,
And the first thing that he asked me was, if somebody going to hurt you. That question in itself, my heart dropped. My heart really dropped, but it also created an idea, and that is that I created a virtual summit with 69 people, speakers, international,
mm.
and it's called Amplify DEI, as in Amplify Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, because I felt compelled to lift my voice, but also lift other voices to amplify where we are in the DEI world, to move the needle so much further. Because when this whole lockdown happened, it felt like everything was moving backwards, whilst you have so many movements from the 50s, from the 60s, to move the conversation forwards, and we were tangoing backwards. And I was just like, okay, let me at least start this initiative, which was beyond 850 worldwide people applied to this, watch this, and people are still learning from the lessons that we shared there. And it's all because I listened to my son.
Interesting. Like when you say the conversation like moving backwards, or would you
Mhm.
say it's a case of the conversations not just being had?
A combination of both.
Mm,
A combination of both. I mean, you were just saying in the beginning that the Netherlands, we are seen as progressive, we are
yeah.
seen as open-minded. That's
Mhm.
what you see when you see our adverts. But know that here in the Netherlands, a lot of people face discrimination, face racism. And the reason why it wasn't open, because when you go to HR, I've had this situation last year where I was in a part-time position for a big company, and I addressed, certain things. I knew what to do as a rule book, but when I noticed that things weren't changing and it was only me, I knew that I had to leave. I knew that I had to leave and let them be sitting with themselves. And so it is also the starter for me to start the conversation about humanizing the workplace, because there's a lot to be done. And it seems like during this lockdown, we went backwards instead of moving forward. We went to a situation where we hand over the traditional roles, we hand them over like it's it's still the 50s, where a lot of women are still doing all the tasks of keeping, parenting the children, cooking dinner, and also working at the same time. And that's why a lot of women are leaving the workplace, because they cannot do it all. They cannot do everything.
Yeah, like I would say one of the things with regards to the lockdown with people who had to work from home, uh,
Mm-hmm.
compared to people who work in factories and stuff like this, who are frontline people. I think one of the things like people seldomly do is go into their sort of realm of discomfort, which helps them push and grow as a person. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things with regards to the lockdown now, there are going to be certain people now who are working from home. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got my home set up. I don't really need to talk to X, Y, or I don't have
Yeah.
interactions with people traveling here, there, or anything. So it's a case of, I'd say, one of like I would say I have been quite fortunate during the lockdown. I've been doing the podcast. I've been talking to a lot of different people. So there's that sort of element of growth for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, I don't think they've had that or they're experiencing that because now they're kind of like I don't know, like a large percentage of their time where they would have had interactions with people on a day-to-day basis is now gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But people seem to think that because we are now virtually, it doesn't mean that all the connectivity is dead. And that's what I don't understand. That there used to be a time before internet, right? There used to be a time where we just took our phone or wrote a letter or write just a card saying hello. I get happy. I get excited when somebody sends me a personal card. I make it, it even warms my heart putting it somewhere and seeing that card that somebody appreciates to send me a card.
mm,
That's the subtle things that you can do. That's a small thing. It's not expensive to buy a card.
yeah, no, and you're right, it's not. And like this is the thing. I just think there is a lot of people which don't actually make that, like, because now they
Hmm.
don't have to do it, they don't have to make that connection. But one of the
Yeah.
things which does interest, like, which is very interesting, you do on a sort of like week to week basis, is your actual YouTube channel slash podcast, like where you're like, look, I've had one or two experiences where I've had more than one person on the podcast. You are you are just like going, okay, you know what? Here we are. I want a group of you. Come on, and like
Yeah.
let's talk live. It's like going, yes. Like, what is it called?
It's called Let's Humanize the Workplace. And depending on the topic, I speak to a lot of people. So this year, I recently counted how many people I've spoken to, except from the summit, because from the summit, I had conversation with 70 people.
Yeah.
But with Let's Humanize the Workplace, I've spoken to, let's say, about 170 people. I know people, and I also know people from my network, and mixing and matching them on a different talent or something that I know that they can be awesome guest speakers. Also know that Let's Humanize the Workplace is my way, my Trojan horse of showcasing diversity, of showing different voices, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, of showing why it works to
Mm,
have diversity, why it works to have inclusion. And I think the highest number that I have done now is having 8 guests at the same time, which is mind blowing. But then again, it went so well that I could have easily talked 3 hours, but I have to keep it at 1 hour and 15 minutes because it's late in the day for me as well.
okay. Yeah. This is okay. Now, okay, getting like organizing one person.
I
Yeah,
know.
thing.
I
Well,
have a system. I told you, I have a system of doing that. So when I'm doing these conversation, I have a booking system, and that's where the nerd sides come up. I love having systems in place. So when I know my guest speaker, I just invite them. I just send them an email. I'm a person that wants a yes from the beginning or a no from the beginning. And once I know that, then we can get things started.
yeah, good God. It's like, yeah. No, no. I'm like, I'm sitting here in a little bit in awe because like I'm looking at your YouTube page and I'm seeing like
Hmm.
the first ring. And yeah, I see where there's a group of 8 people. And I'm going, okay, it's like, yeah, eight, four. Like it doesn't actually like there's only one which goes down to three, which I can see in the first.
In the beginning, it was one on one, but I realized that um, having a conversation just with one person, it's fun. It's fun to do, but then
Yeah.
again, I wanted to challenge different guest speakers to bring a person that they can lift as they climb.
Mhm.
That's when the numbers started adding up, and sometimes I ask a guest speaker just to bring somebody else in the conversation, or I know of a guest speaker who will be amazing because of the topic that we are going to discuss.
Oh,
And I want to showcase diverse voices because there are so many voices, people, amazing people that I know of who are valuable, but you don't hear them, you don't see them, and that's why I bring them up. Yeah, I'm a networker, I'm a people person, and when I'm also listening to people their voices. If their voices aren't that well, or if I don't feel a connection, I also don't invite them that easily, because I want to have that energy. There's a reason why people watch my show, because I have a way of, or some kind of chemistry
Yeah.
of connecting people with each other.
Oh no, I'm liking that. I'm liking it. No, this
Yeah.
thing, I've got to say, because we live in remote times, like, and
Hmm.
Netherlands being the size that it is, like, yes, no, trust me, I used to work in satellite communications, and I had to come over to the Netherlands a lot. If I traveled more than 40 minutes, I've gone a long way in the Netherlands. Trust me. Trust me. I
Why
know.
are you giving that away?
I know.
We have an amazing country. It's
Look,
cold, but it's still
hey, look,
amazing.
all I've got to say is, look, I remember flying into Schiphol, and like there was one time when all the train, like they were doing train
Mm,
engineering works, and like I looked
yeah.
just as I was flying, like I looked at the website, I was like, oh my lord, and like I was like, okay, I need to go from like right on the southern border, and I was like, yeah, hour and a half, and I was like, I was upset because I've been around in the Netherlands for a good few months, like bouncing around here, there, and everywhere. So it was an
Hmm.
hour and a half. I was like, an hour and a half. Normally it'll be like
Yeah. No.
up and down the country at least twice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. True.
but the
True.
reason why I say this is because like I would like when the world settles down and we can gather and meet and stuff like this would make a fantastic show when having people like on a sort of face to face talking it over, like rather than sort of the remote, like remotely. Look, we work with what we've got right now, but
Yeah.
I can
True.
imagine the energy in the room would be.
Then there will be more stress, because you are feeling the stress as in organizing these things. I've done the virtual summit.
Yeah,
So for me, the stress that you are maybe, seeing in front of you, as in you're doing so much, that's what I have with the virtual summit a little
yeah,
bit, because you have to support 68 people. I was one of the speakers myself, and you have to see people where they are at. Some people were technically savvy, some weren't that savvy, but I supported each and every one of them, because I wanted to be an inclusive leader that is there for when they need to. So hopefully maybe it will be real life, and otherwise I'm okay with doing it virtually. I love what I do, and I love that it inspires so many people to do something else. I recently had a conversation about mentorship, why it's important, and I am a person of action, so I challenge people to at least become a mentor, or at least find a mentor, right? Because it's all about advancing your career. It's all about personal growth, which can also apply to your business as well.
mm,
And having a mentor or becoming a mentor will definitely boost your journey from wherever you are.
yeah. No, like this is the thing. I think the power of mentorship. It's not the simple fact of like passing on your knowledge to the next
No,
generation coming up.
it's
It's
learning about the other person as
yeah,
well.
it's
Yeah,
basically visibility, being able to
yeah,
go, oh, I see you, you're doing this and
yeah,
that. Maybe I can do that. And like they
yeah,
might not be mentored by you, but as long as they can see you're visible, you're there, and you're present, that is, you never know how the ripples might hit the other side of the pond, if you get what I mean.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Mm. So with regards to the virtual events you've been hosting, will you be making this a sort of annual thing or like monthly thing? Because like,
It will be a biannual, so I'm looking towards creating two or three
mhm,
summits, but not as big as the first one. I want to be mindful and be living a lot more longer. So the next summit will be with 30 or 35 speakers,
mhm.
and we will target an audience towards leadership, towards HR, towards professionals that want to amplify DEI. So it will be still TEDx style, so short and sweet and actionable.
Ah, next stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
like if you can get that format down and yeah, make it happen, I think yeah. there's some great
Yeah,
progress out there.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
fantastic. So, with regards to say 6 months to a year from now, what do you like see some of the like what sort of plans you have in place apart from just doing the summit?
What do I have in place? Well, it has been a long wish of mine to become an author, and why not become an international author
Yeah.
as well? Um, where do I want to be? I made a commitment. I wrote, I did a mood board last year where I made a commitment towards myself that I want to be able to fly to the States. That will be put on hold a little bit, but I do want to amplify my own speaking career, right? I do want to be known as Vivian Acquah, the inclusive workplace wellness advocate, and lifting others up. I'm a person who lifts others up as I climb because I feel like that's a way of honoring my grand as well and honoring the person who I am.
Mm. So okay, flying like going to the States, speaking more, and yeah.
Yeah, but going to the state, it might be 2022 or 2023. It's depending on how the lockdown will be. And otherwise, I can fly virtually, right?
Well, indeed, indeed. Like I'm curious about, yeah, author, writing a book. So, what do you think the book subject matter would be? Will it be about futuristic things on the tech side, or will it be some?
I'm easy. I'm easy. I will be addressing the things that I'm already addressing. That is humanizing what I believe that we need more of the humanizing factor in the workplace. So it will be based on my show.
Mhm.
And I just need to think about what the DNA will be so that I can create that book. But I'm talking to a publisher soon, and I'm going to think about, okay, what is it that I'm going to address? Because there is so much knowledge within me, but also speaking to at least 170 people that might give give me some insight, and also including other voices in the book as well.
Oh, superb! Liking that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, like you know what? I've got to learn. I've learned a lot about you, but like this is the thing. Like, like yeah, it's like yes. But
Am I blowing your mind or what?
oh well, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
Like I'm having a lovely conversation here, and like I've learned a lot
thank you.
about you. And look, I've got to say, like learned say more of the serious stuff. What is one? Like, what are a couple of things you do to sort of chill out and relax?
Well, I confess that I love Netflix, so from time to time I do watch Netflix. And what else do I do? Um, having, girl talks with my friends, or with the family, just cycling. When the weather is okay, we cycle in the weekend and just travel. That's the way, that's the kind of traveling that we have at the moment. But I do miss Greece. The last vacation that we did was in 2019, proper vacation, and it was in Greece, and I hope to go back there when we can.
Yeah, like when you said 2019, it feels like such a long time.
Yeah, it is. It
Like,
feels like such a long time. It is.
one of the things what blew my mind, like I was interviewing animal activist chap, like lives in Australia, and like it was like, yeah, this was in April, and it was like, okay, it's like, yeah, I went, yeah, it goes, yes, the bushfires. I was like, oh my god, the bushfires. It
Yeah,
felt like it was like 10 years ago. I was like, okay,
it
yeah,
feels like that. I mean, being at home and not having, that much change of scenery, it feels like you're in this situation for a very long time. I feel like I'm in that movie. I don't know if I know that name, but there's Groundhog Day.
yes,
It feels like that sometimes.
yes, a Bill Murray classic, yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, ironically, I watched that just before this all sort of kicked off. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know how real it was going to be. It's just like, I just like, wake up. Oh, wait.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lady comes in and goes, yeah, you do realize it's like Saturday. Is it?
yeah. Yeah, my partner is like that. Like, okay, what day is it today? Where are we? Are we already in this? We are almost in December. How did this happen? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy time. Like, yeah. Now, one of the things about myself, I'm a being of supreme cosmic power, and
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to grant someone a wish. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, can't be doing world peace. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
can't be doing like writing down a list of things on a piece of paper and like grant everything on this like piece of paper. And yeah, and yes, I can give you one wish. What would that wish be?
That one wish would be becoming one of the best international speakers for DEI.
Ah, best international speakers. So,
Yeah.
so with regards to a speaking goal, would you want to be, would you want it to be something you create yourself, or would it be the realms of you would love to be a TED speaker? Say,
I mean, TED, of course, TED is on my list, but I've always told myself if there was one person who I can trade place with one day, it's Oprah, right? With everything that I'm doing, I had a cooking show and it's also based on what would Oprah do. So when I do my conversations online, it's just like, what would Oprah do with, of course, adding the Vivian Acquah sauce on it as well. But I see Oprah. I see myself and I see Oprah and I see that people comment me like, okay, you are so kind, you are so impactful, and you're just calm. I'm like that. Of course, I get frustrated, but I have a way to keep my calmness and to just provide quality for people. So I hope my own talk show, but I have already. In a way, it feels like I have already, and I want it to be bigger, to be broader, to be diverse.
yeah, no, this is a thing. Hey, like, to have your own talk show, yeah, I'm saying you got that going on the
Yeah.
boil right now. Like it's been, I don't know, you've been doing it.
It's not been 1 year, and
Oh,
I already have 80 episodes or more. I think I'm going towards my 80th. Yeah, it started somewhere beginning ending of November. That's when I started doing live, and I was in the beginning doing Dutch or doing English and Dutch on and off, but I switched to doing more English and from occasionally doing Dutch as well.
yeah, like this is the thing. I would imagine like doing like purely if you were doing English more so, you would get a greater global impact. But like,
Yeah.
how's that been sort of as an impact locally? Would you say, starting out just doing like in Dutch?
In Dutch locally, people, yeah, I have an unconventional background, and people here in the Netherlands, especially the Dutch people, they want to stipulate things as in you're not from HR, so it's taking a harder time to be seen. But I am being seen by the radio. I am being seen on television, which also made a lot of people of color here in the Netherlands super proud. Seeing a tall lady, colorful, wearing my hair claws, wearing my colorfulness against next to three people that were wearing doll suits. That's what other people were sharing. So I'm making my mark in my own way, but I always dreamt that the Netherlands is too small for me, especially for somebody who's 1 meter 86 and who has big ambitions.
Well, look, put it this way: if you got Oprah ambitions, yes, like
Yeah,
the Netherlands,
yeah,
the UK, Europe as a whole is never going to be big enough.
yeah,
Yes, the world domination.
yeah,
Here I said, I can see a small, like, little spaceship, like the size of a Death Star, like being built as we speak. Yes,
yeah,
my day. Yes, this is my moment. Loving it.
yeah, yeah.
I have to say, okay, I will work on your wish to become like a supreme.
Likewise.
Absolutely. Can you tell the lovely people out there how they can get hold of you?
Yes. So reach out via LinkedIn. You can easily follow me there, but I'm also on Twitter. I have Instagram, but I'm not that active on Instagram because it's a lot of work. And of course, I have a Facebook page. But if you want to, the easiest way to connect with me is just reach out via LinkedIn or Twitter. That's the best.
Ah,
And it's Vivian Acquah. I'm the only one with purple hair with this colorful headcloth, and I can hardly be missed. It's something with pink and purple. That's it.
uh, uh, I'd like to say thank you for coming on today. You have been a superb superstar, outstanding, fantastic. All the positive words I can think of right now.
Thank you. Thank you. It was an amazing conversation, and I always end up doing, it was awesome.
Uh, as a small cartoon with like animated pieces, everything is awesome.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
everything
Thank
is
you.
cool when you're part of a team. But that's yes. Thank you for coming on today. And yes, I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors out there who are still with us right now. Stay safe, stay well, be excellent, be fantastic, be awesome. Be all the or be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. Peace. And we are